So as we are approaching the end of the day, you are in for a real treat with the speaker providing the closing remarks. While this gentleman certainly does not need an introduction, we at PUC, we don't always get the opportunity or the chance to brag about him. Larry McKenzie, most commonly known as Coach McKenzie, or just Coach, is a pillar of the North Minneapolis community and has been dedicated to serving our youth for over 30 years. Larry has served on multiple nonprofit boards and currently serves as the chairman of the Minnesota Association of Charter School Authorizers. Larry is also a published author and has been in his role as authorizer liaison at Pillsbury United Communities for 7 years. In addition to being by far the loudest person in our Oak Park building, Larry is a leading voice in true education reform and an innovator in educating our children of color. Coach McKenzie is the only high school basketball coach in the state of Minnesota to have won state basketball titles at multiple schools, and the only coach to win 4 consecutive state championships. Larry brings the same level of intensity he has on the court into the work of authorizing. He knows and understands what we do makes a difference in the outcomes for children who have been historically marginalized, disenfranchised, and underserved. I can tell you, he simply breathes this work. I am honored to introduce a colleague, a mentor, and a friend. Give it up for Larry McKenzie.
So good evening, and I should say good afternoon. I know you all are ready to get out of here, so I promise that I'm going to be brief. Sam, you might have been joking, but I'm going to remember when we're doing those site visits, everybody who left didn't stick around for the final speech here. If you've been here today and you have not gotten anything, something got to be wrong with you. We've had some some really, really great speakers, really great speakers. And so I want to start off just by saying thank you to our sponsors, Ed Mentum, Bush Foundation, Youth Prize, and the Grace Foundation. So let's give them a quick hand. I also want to say, if we could, my colleagues, Samantha, Antonio, Emily, the effort and the work that went into doing this. I mean, I think it's just been a fabulous event. Of course, when those folks, we call it those other folks, thought that they wouldn't allow charter school people to have an opportunity to participate in their professional development, we just decided that we'd do something bigger and better. So hopefully you've enjoyed this event. I want to take a quick pause because I promised that I would give him a few minutes of my time. Is Reggie in the house? So Reggie want to do a quick presentation. And then I promise you that I'll be brief and get you out of here. I want you to be happy, if you haven't been already, at least twice. Happy that I stood up and happy that I let you go home. So Reggie, you got a good 5 minutes.
Thank you, Larry. So it's been a wonderful day. On behalf of Minnesota Internship Center, can I ask the Minnesota Internship Center staff to please stand and remain standing. We want to thank PUC. Can you all hear me? Because I need y'all to hear this. We want to thank PUC for guiding us in the direction of excellence. Stable finances, check. Contract goals, check. Strong school board, check. Database school, check. Positive school culture, check. Hiring champions, check. Facilities conducive to learning, check. Strong leadership, check. Internal school turnaround, check. Because of the support we have received from Larry, Emily, Samantha, and Antonio, we have become a school that is proud of itself for our accomplishments in culturally and individually educating our students. So what I want to ask is if Larry, Emily, Samantha, and Antonio, if you all could please come down and join us on the stage here. MNIC would like to present these special recognition plaques as a thank you so you will always remember how you helped change our school.
Thank you.
Mr. Green now is going to read the plaques.
Okay, so it says special recognition to Larry McKenzie, to Samantha Diaz, to Emily Edstrom Moore, I remember, and of course to Antonio Cardona. So Minnick would like to thank the four individuals up here of PUC for your continuous support and dedication to Minnick staff and its students. It is evident that because of your support, Minnick has overcome many obstacles and has reached our goal of becoming a student-focused school where everyone sees the value of individualized student success. With much gratitude and much appreciation for your individual contribution and your unconditional support from PUC, our authorizers, we would like to extend our sincere thanks to Larry McKenzie, to Samantha Diaz, to Emily Edstrom Moore, and also, of course, Antonio Cardona. And we look forward to our partnership in the future. Sincerely, all of the Minnick staff and all the Minnick students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So Reggie asked me to do that. We wanted to surprise Antonio, and so we definitely want to say thank you to Reggie. So when I have an opportunity to go places, and some of you know that I'm around the community, I do a whole lot of different things. And so sometimes people will ask, like, Coach, what do you really do? And I'm sure sometimes my colleagues ask that as well. But I always tell people, I tell them that my official title is Charter School Authorizer Liaison. But my real job is to be the voice for the families and kids that don't have a voice. And so today, I am here on behalf of Miss Mary Smith and Rita Jones, who every morning, put their precious babies on a school bus to come to your school with great expectations. I am here this afternoon on behalf of Tanisha, who wants to be a nurse. I'm here today on behalf of Jesus, who wants to own a business. I am here today for Abdi, who wants to be a scientist. I'm here today on behalf of Tyler, who promised his grandmother that he would be the first college graduate in the family. I am here today as a voice of the children and families who have no voice. But I'm here today as Coach McKenzie. And I'm here today to tell you, Team PUC, that we're losing. That we're in last place. Every August, when you pick up the newspaper, the statistics say that Minnesota is 50 out of 50 states in regards to the achievement gap. That we're last in reading, that we're last in math, that we're last in graduation rate. And if our children aren't graduating, I ask you, where are they going? I can tell you many of them that look like me, they're going to prison. And so I am here today to say to you that yes, Tanisha lives, yes, our kids live in poverty. And yes, Tanisha doesn't know who her father is. And Jesus' parents are illegals. And Tyler lives in the community. Their struggles. And yes, all of them are on free and reduced lunch. But I say to you in the words of Linda Wyatt, so what? Now what? So what? Now what? What are we going to do, team? What are we going to do, team? We're playing the biggest game of our life. And if there was a time that we've got to come together, charter schools, PUC network, if there was a time that we got to come together with a purpose, the time is now. We've got to raise the bar and create a new standard. I know they say that it can't be done, but we cannot be satisfied with being in last place. We can't be satisfied with being in last place. So I'm here to challenge you today about how we move from worst to first. And they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So we've got to change the way that we're doing things. We've got to ask ourselves, why are we in last place? And sometimes when I think about education and even some of the kids that I work with, I'm like, how does a kid feel good, or how does a teacher feel good with D's and F's? I mean, how do you feel good about giving a kid a D or F? And what it reminds me of is that we got to take the work that we do to another level. We got to take the work that we do to another level. And so we've got to raise our commitment. And when I think about commitment, I go back to my 7th grade days. And I think about Miss Wilson, probably close to 70 years old. But I will never forget the day that she said to me, McKenzie, son, we're not leaving here. We're not leaving here until you get this math down. That's the kind of commitment that we need right now. And so commitment to me is never giving in, never giving out, never giving up. We've got to ask ourselves that when we're in a classroom, why is it that Reggie can get it, but Larry can't get it? I heard one of my coaches say once, he said, nothing is taught until it's learned. Nothing is learned until it's taught. And so we've got to ask ourselves, why are we losing? Why are we losing? Team, I'm here today to tell you, we got to play harder. We got to play harder. We got to play hard every single day. Every play got to matter. And it can't just be when you feel good or when you feel like it. Mother Smith's grandbaby is in your hands. We got to play harder. Everything and everybody has got to matter. Our commitment has got to go beyond conversation. We got to move the needle. We can't be okay with being in last place. Kids, these kids need to win. And so today, I know that sometime you walk into a situation that a kid doesn't know an alphabet. And yes, you have a young man in the 6th grade reading on the 3rd grade level. But we got to say that regardless of what their situation is, that we got to believe that these kids can learn. And that belief has got to be that every single kid has the ability to have their dreams come true. One of the things that I like to say that you are the potters. These kids are in the clay. Many of these kids are going to spend more time with you than they spend with their parents. And so we can't be okay with Tanisha leaving school without being successful. We can't be okay with Tyler not achieving his goals. I close with a story that I most recently heard. I most recently had an opportunity to listen to one of my friends interview Tony Dungy. And when I asked Tony, who was the greatest influence on your life? Coach Dungy talked about a middle school principal by the name of Mr. Leroy Rockamore. And he talked about that when he was in the 8th grade and he would go to school and they'd sit down for breakfast and Mr. Rockamore would come and sit down with the 8th graders and have conversation. And then at lunchtime, and you know, like any 8th grade boys, 13 or 14, they wondered why was this guy always just hanging around these 8th grade boys. But Tony said that because of Mr. Rockamore spending time with him, he became somebody that he could trust. And so a few years later, his senior year in high school, he got into a disagreement with his football coach, and he quit the football team. And somehow word got out through the community to Mr. Rockamore that he had quit playing football. And so Mr. Rockamore reached out to him. And he said the only reason that he went to have a conversation with him because he was a trusted friend. Because of a relationship. And so because Mr. Rockamore had that conversation and he said to Tony, Tony, why are you going to allow somebody to take away something from you that's important to you? Something that means a whole lot to you. But the gist of the conversation was, had it not been for that relationship, Tony Dungy would have never been a Hall of Fame Super Bowl coach. It was a teacher. It was an assistant principal. It was because of an trusted adult who saw something in him that he couldn't even see. PUC team, we can't be okay. We can't be okay with being in last place. And if the traditional public system is not going to do it, I'm here to challenge you today that being different is the difference. Being different is the difference. And so I'm saying, now is the time. Now is the time. Starting tomorrow, Tanisha must become a priority. Jesus must matter. Tyler needs you. There are families in this community that send their kids to you, and they do it the same way that you do it. I don't know of a single parent that make a decision for their kid not in a space of love. They do it because they love them. And they have great expectations of you. So I want to close the way that I would if I had my team in a locker room. I want you to repeat after me as loud as you can. And some of the folks who have been around me, you've heard this. I want you to say, I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a warrior. I'm a warrior. I'm a champion. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a warrior. Come on, y'all can do better than that. I'm a winner. I'm a winner. I'm a warrior. I'm a champion. I refuse. I refuse. I refuse. I refuse to lose. To lose. To lose. Our babies need you. Thank you. God bless you.